And welcome to Oscar Mike Radio. My name is Travis. I'm the host. And Oscar Mike Radio is about being on mission for our military and veterans and things, topics, and stories that affect our military and those who have served. And I've got a special guest with you tonight. Without any further ado, I want to introduce Steve Emt. Did I get that right, Steve?
Yes, you did, Travis. Yep.
Yes, the Marine Corps did it again. Steve, welcome to Oscar Mike Radio.
Hey, thanks for having me, Travis. It's an honor to be here. I know everything you do for the military and whatnot, and just is pleased to be here. I thank you very much.
It's no problem. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's kind of interesting how Steve and I got connected, and this is one of the best parts of doing this show and how a lot of things happen between veterans. I'm on Facebook messing around. I see this post from Dean Wegner, who I had on for number 173. And Dean is talking about this gentleman who he went to West Point with, which I got to get some good stories there here in a second, but who is a Paralympian doing curling. And he has some cool shirts. I'm going to have the link here in the show post about how to order those and a donation link to support you, Steve, in going to the Paralympics. And so I just had to get connected, reached out to Dean, and here we are. So, first and foremost, I mean, you went to West Point, which we were talking before the show is not an easy place to get into. How did that start, and how did you meet Dean?
Well, fortunately, I was a very good athlete growing up, so I had the sports background to help me out get into the academy. Junior, senior year of high school, I was being recruited to play soccer and basketball around the country, and West Point sent me some literature, and I went home and I brought it home to my parents. My father looked at me. He's like, "Steve, do you know what this place is? Do you realize what you want to do here?" And I saw the uniforms. I saw the military and the Division I sports. And I said, "Hey, yeah, I want to do it." He said, "All right, you're crazy, but I'm behind you 100%. So I went to prep school for a year to get my grades up a little bit, and then entered West Point and stayed there for 2 years. It was an absolutely incredible time of my life. I would do it again in a heartbeat. I met Dean my freshman year. We were classmates in a couple of our classes, and seeing him around campus. Obviously, freshman year, plebe year, you can't talk to anybody else, so we would kind of sneak some cordial hellos here and there. But just incredible time at West Point, incredible people. To this day, 35 years later, just still communicate and catching up with old classmates from prep school and from West Point. Incredible times.
Well, it's the interesting thing, right? It's decades later, and the connection's still there. And he heard about what you were doing and did this. And again, he's for you because he's a fellow West Pointer, and because of what you're doing. And the shirts are cool, folks. They're dropping soon. You want to get those, but it's just that connection. So you leave West Point, and it's my understanding you continued your education, and then you got into an accident. And there's several reasons why you said you got in that accident. Do you want to go into that?
Absolutely, yeah. Well, unfortunately, my plebe year, my father passed away. All of a sudden, he was 57 years old, perfectly healthy. I was 19 years old at the time. I thought I was man enough, mature enough, and tough enough to deal with it. I actually left West Point on a Tuesday, came back. We buried my father on a Thursday, and I went back to school on Sunday. And I was 19 years old, and it was stupid to do at the time. West Point said, "Steve, take a semester off. Go home, be with your family, get some counseling if you need to, whatever it might be. Just take your time to grieve the loss of your father." And I didn't do that. Travis, I thought I was tough enough and mature enough. I thought I was invincible. And I can get through this and it'll be okay. And I ended up doing poorly in academics for the next semester. I was on academic probation for my first 2 years there. And I just decided to leave West Point and come back and be with my family. I came back here to Connecticut. I live in Connecticut, and I enrolled in the University of Connecticut. One day I'm playing intramural basketball, and the head coach of the basketball team, Jim Calhoun, who was a Hall of Famer, national championship coach, saw me playing, offered me a spot on the team. So for 2 years, from 1992 to 1994, I was a walk-on for the University of Connecticut. Fourth-ranked team in the country.
I was going to say, I mean, that's insane.
Right. Fourth-ranked team in the country. I'm playing with future pros like Ray Allen, who's a Hall of Famer now. Scott Burrell, Kevin Ollie, Daniel Marshall, all these guys that went off, played 15, 16 years in the league, making all the money, playing all the the game they love. And I was fortunate to be there. I played 38.7 seconds in 2 years, Travis. I don't round up. I don't round down. I'm very proud of that 38.7. Never touched the ball. I think I kicked it one time, why, I don't know. But just, being a part of that program, being a Husky, it's just the same as a military. And now everywhere we go, obviously, as being veterans, you see another veteran and you want to go up to them and talk to them and share stories. It's the same thing with UConn and UConn basketball. Once you're a Husky, you're always a Husky. So, I've got military friends from 35 years ago, still staying in touch. I've got basketball player friends from 25 years ago, still staying in touch. Just incredible times. Unfortunately, at the age of 25 years old, one night I made a stupid decision to get behind the wheel of my truck after I'd been drinking. A lot of factors went into that. Unfortunately, I started drinking when I was in middle school, high school, West Point. When I lost my father, I kind of masked everything with alcohol there. And then I go to UConn, and again, I'm at UConn, and I'm the man. I'm walking around campus like, I got my UConn basketball gear on, and I'm invincible again, and I can't be touched. And one night when I was 25 years old, after I left UConn, I proved myself wrong with that. Real bad accident. I don't remember the accident itself. The last thing I remember is getting into my truck, putting the keys in the ignition, and starting up and starting to drive down the road. From what I was told, I was traveling about 85 miles an hour. When my truck went off the side of the road, I passed out behind the wheels about 2:00 in the morning, and I hit a ditch, and I started a cartwheel and a roll and flip 75 yards down the road, 3/4 the length of a football field. My truck came to rest in a ditch, and the roof completely shattered, windows, tires blown out, sheet metal, everything gone. I was found laying next to my truck, which meant I didn't have my seatbelt on, which was another terrible decision. A police officer just happened to find me. He was driving the other way on the highway, and his light shined off the chrome of my truck. He turned around, he got to the scene, he saw me laying next to the truck. Obviously, my clothes were all torn up, bleeding from my nose, my mouth, my ears, cuts all over my body. He got on the radio and he called the hospital. The hospital sent Lifestar helicopter. Got me back to the hospital, multiple surgeries, massive internal bleeding. They cut me open from my chest down to my navel. I broke my back in many places, 3 different places actually. I broke up the majority of my ribs, blew out both my knees, head injury. I mean, I was an absolute mess, Travis. I was going down the drain. I ruptured my spleen. They took that out, so I get sick pretty easy now. But most importantly, I severed my spinal cord. Spinal cord is the membrane that runs from your brain down to your pelvis. It serves as a central highway for all the communication. You stub your toe, the signal gets sent to the spinal cord. It gets to your brain and tells you that you're hurt. Well, I severed it right about the belly button, and therefore I'm now paralyzed from the waist down. Can't feel my legs, can't move my legs. Stick a knife in my leg right now, I wouldn't feel it. And, at 25 years old, when most people are getting set in their lives, maybe settling down with their loved one, looking at the house, settling into their career, all this stuff. I could have done some great things in my life. I could have gone overseas and played professional basketball and professional soccer. I had everything going for me. I'm Steve Emp. I'm the man. I'm the most successful high school athlete ever to come out of my high school. I was a West Point cadet. I was a UConn basketball player. And now at 25 years old, I'm fighting for my life. I was in a coma for 2 days. The way I came out of my coma was I had this dream that I was at my old house growing up, and it was a spring day, but it was kind of rainy, and the window was open. I remember I was in my old bedroom, and I remember a cloud of mist came in the window, and it was so hot, I kind of leaned forward into that cloud of mist to cool myself off, and something grabbed me and threw me down in the corner of a closet, started spinning me around real fast. And as that's going on, I saw a beautiful, bright skeleton of a person. And then all of a sudden, all those bright lights came together at one point, and I woke up from my coma exactly 2 days after my accident. Now, everybody I've talked to in the last 25 years, I've told that story to, have all said the same thing. Probably my guardian angel, probably my father, saying, hey, get back down there. Do something with this. Steve, you screwed up. You know what? Take responsibility for it. Deal with the consequences. You're going to deal with it for the rest of your life, but take responsibility. Talk to people. Listen to people. Hear their stories. Share your story. You can impact people's lives. And that's what I do. That's why I do what I do now, Travis. That's why I travel around and I speak and I talk and I share my story. Just it's so important. So important for people there.
Well, just to go back a little bit, I mean, this happens and there's the physical healing process. So was it right away that you decided, you know what, I messed up. I really did, and I'm going to take action and change now? Or did it take you, 6 months, 18 months, a couple years to figure out where your path was after this happened? Because like you said, you were really, you know, had the world by the hands at this point in your life.
I did. And when I woke up from my coma, the first person I saw was the doctor that had performed the surgery on me 2 nights prior. And she leaned over my lifeless body and she said to me, "Stephen, you've been in a bad automobile accident. You will never walk again." And she left the room. Are you kidding me? I mean, talk about
bedside man, yeah.
Right? Woo! I mean, I'm all for one, give it to me like it is, but I mean, cut me a break here, Doc, on this one. But I'm glad she did that. And then the next person that came in was my mother, and she leaned over my body, and I saw the tears welled up in her eyes, and I saw one teardrop fall from her eye and hit me in the cheek and roll down my face. And she kissed me on the forehead. She said, "Stephen, I love you." And she left the room. Then all the questions came in, Travis. Where am I? What did I do? What's going on? The hell that I put my mother through for 2 days, and my sisters and my brother and my girlfriend at the time, and all the people that are wondering if Steve's going to be okay. 2 days of coma, and hearing the stories, of the doctors coming to my family and saying, "Hey, we don't think Steve's going to make it through the night. You better start making funeral arrangements." Or seeing the priest come in to read me my last rites. Why did I do this? My poor mother, who just buried her husband of 27 years, just 5 years prior. What did I do here? How am I going to get through life now? Who's going to want me? Who am I going to be a burden on? I'm a half a vegetable. I didn't know anything about paralysis at the time. I didn't know any of that stuff. So as far as recovery, it didn't take too long for me, to be honest with you, Travis. I was in a hospital for about 2 months. And the way there's a defining moment in my life. And one day in the hospital, the nurses were carrying me from my wheelchair to my bed to my wheelchair, and they dropped me. And I fell right on the tire of my wheelchair, and I bruised my tailbone. That's something that could kill somebody in a wheelchair. If they don't take care of their bottom and their backside, if there's a bruise and they don't know, that could kill somebody in a wheelchair within, days, weeks. So for 2 straight days, I had to lay in bed on my side with my butt cheeks taped wide open to the window to try to heal up for 2 straight days. And that's when I hit rock bottom. That's when I had thoughts of, maybe this world's a better place without me in it. Thought about taking my own life. The darkest days of my life. I was a miserable jerk. People would come in to try to help me. I would yell at them. I would scream at them. I would curse at them. I would throw things, "Get the hell out of my room. I don't need your help. Leave me alone," for 2 straight days. It was hell. But then something incredible happened, Travis. I healed up. They put me back in my chair, gingerly this time. They wheeled me down to the swimming pool, and they put me in this chair, and they put a life jacket on me, and they lifted me over the side of the pool. And as they're lowering me into the water, I saw the water hit my feet, and I couldn't feel it. And I thought to myself, "This is weird. What's going on?" And the water's coming up my legs, and I still can't feel it. And it's coming up my head. I can't feel it. And all of a sudden, it hit my hands, my arms, my chest, and my face. And it was absolutely the most incredible, powerful feeling I've ever felt in my life. And as I'm floating around this pool with my life jacket on, about 8 weeks after my accident, I made a decision right there in the pool that I need to change my life right now. I need to do this. I don't want to be the person I've been for the last 2 days. I don't want to be the burden on anybody. I don't want to be the miserable jerk that nobody wants to be around. And just because I did something to myself and I'm having a bad day, I'm not going to make somebody else have a bad day because of that. And I made a decision right there. I'm going to change my life, and I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to go through these steps, and I'm going to do this myself. Yes, the doctors, the nurses, the mentors, those are all mentors in my life. My family, my support system, and absolute incredible people. I've had incredible mentors in my life. But you know what? At the end of the day, it's myself.
So you made the choice right then. You said, "I'm going to do this. I have to own this and make the change." You made the choice. No one forced you.
Absolutely. It was me. And we all, you know what, Travis? We all have this inside of us. We are capable of incredible things. Nowadays, too many people are looking outside for power and influence and inspiration. No, we got it inside of us. We will do this. When I was growing up, Larry Bird was my hero. All right. But when I woke up at 25 and I was told that I was never going to walk again, Larry Bird's not going to help me walk. The doctors, the nurses, the family support, they're not going to help me walk. I'm going to get through this. All right. No matter what comes my way, I will deal with this, and I'm going to do this for myself. I'm going to do this for my family and my loved ones and everybody else. And right there in the pool, I got out of it as quickly as possible. In the next 6 weeks or so, I got out of the rehab hospital, and I was home within 3 weeks after my accident, back to work with about 4 weeks after my accident, or excuse me, months, about 4 months after my accident.
4 months.
4 months. We got to get on. We got to get on with life. Things happen, Travis. Every day things happen to us. But it's not the end of the world. There's people living out in the woods right now. Unfortunately, there's wars going on. I mean, hey, we're okay. We will get through this.
Well, before we get into some of the other things, just, talking to veterans who have PTSD or going through hard times, what do you think about that? And the reason I ask that is sometimes, I get it. Something very bad happened. They saw and experienced stuff that, 99.9% of the planet doesn't see. But is it possible for them to take your attitude and change their life, or are other things needed? What do you feel about that?
No, I feel that anybody to a degree can at least start in the right direction to changing their life.
Okay.
And I agree with you 100% with PTSD and the things that people have been through. And there's more people that are walking around this earth with PTSD that I think we know about. And, a lot of people in our lives have some level of it. But with what I did, at least we can get going in the right direction. And I wrote a book recently, and we'll get to that in a minute. But the part of it, the action plan in the book, there's 6 steps to it. Maybe these people could take one of those 6 steps and work on that for a month or 6 months or something. Or maybe it's my story, or maybe it's half the plan, whatever it might be. But there's something out there. Every one of us has it inside of us to at least get started and at least get moving in the right direction. And if that means that I got to, kick your butt, then I'll do it. Or if you got to, or somebody, then hey, bring us on. We will do this. But if that ultimately it comes down to the individual, and everybody is capable of doing it, no matter what they've been through. Right? There are the people I met at the Paralympic Games. I met an athlete from Canada. He lost an arm and 2 legs in the war, and he gets around on a skateboard. Travis, he doesn't use a wheelchair. He's got 1 arm. All right, he gets around a skateboard. He's a biathlete, which is skiing and rifle shooting.
Right.
And he wins a gold medal. Guy's got 1 arm. All right. The next time your audience stubs their toe or something, I want you to think about that. Another American skier. She's totally blind. 70 miles an hour down the hill. Totally blind, with her husband about 10 yards behind her, guiding her. Talk about trust. Talk about crazy. I mean, you're nuts. But that's what we're capable of doing. We all have it inside of us. So I understand the PTSD, and it's awful. And you're right. They've seen and been through some horrific things, but we can at least start and get moving in the right direction. And with,
it's still the individuals empowered to start.
Yes.
And get going.
That's it. You know what? Some people have taken my book already and they told me, I've heard from people all around the world, Travis, listen, you've changed my life, Steve. You saved my life. But I don't want you are the hero. All right. You're the one. I just showed you the way. I've had other people tell me, listen, I just took step 3 and that helped me out today. It didn't change my life, but it helped me get through the day. Hey, that's why I did it. And that's why we're here.
So this happens 4 months later, you're back to work. When did this change happen that you're like, I have a message to tell other people, I'm going to write this book? How did all that get going?
I've always had it inside of me. I've always wanted to. I've always been told, Travis, always, Steve, I don't understand how you got through it all. You lost your father. My mother recently passed away a little over about 8 years ago. I've lost my nephew in a horrific car accident. I've lost a brother-in-law. I've my own accident. And people are like, Steve, all this, I mean, you wake up at 25 and told you're never going to walk again? I would have killed myself, Steve. And I'm like, no. Until something like this happens to us, we don't know how powerful we are. When our back's against the wall and we got to battle and get through it, we don't know how powerful we are. And we are incredibly powerful. So I've been thinking about it for years. And then finally, I needed some time to do it. And, last spring, this thing called COVID hits and we all got some time. So I just put my mind, everything I had in my mind, all the thoughts and all the experiences, I just started write, journal, write, talk, text, everything. It was an incredible experience. It was so cathartic, Travis. It was just so soothing to be able to get everything out and put it on paper and just get it organized.
Yeah, because your book was published like last year, very recently.
It was published in November. Yep.
Yeah.
It's on Amazon. Yeah. It's doing well. They hit the #1 bestseller for a while and going to get it back there again. Just incredible experience. You know what? I don't care about selling copies, Travis. I care about getting my message out. And again, if it's my story, what I've been through, that's going to inspire you to get off the couch today, then that's why I did it. If it's step one, step two, all six, whatever it might be, if it's something in that book that inspires you to get off the couch and get moving and make that change in your life and be your own hero, love yourself and look at yourself as your own hero, then I've done my job.
Be your own hero. Take action for yourself. You decide.
Yes.
So I'm looking at the book. I didn't get a chance to buy it because, look, folks, we literally, I found this, I think, Sunday afternoon, and we're talking 24 hours later. That's how fast things happen, right?
Yes, sir.
And, which is great because I made a decision. I just went with it.
There you go.
But where did you have an acronym for the word decide? And I just kind of want to ask you to kind of go over what those acronyms mean. What's that mean and how does that empower people?
Yes, definitely. The acronym, the word is decide. It is an acronym. The D stands for to determine that a change needs to be the change needs to be made in your life. So determine. The first E is to educate yourself. We can't do anything without education. Read, call the number, talk to people, YouTube, whatever it might be. All right, educate, gather information. The C is to create a plan. We can't do anything without a plan in our lives. Create a plan. The I is to implement that plan. All right, we've got this incredible plan in place, but if we just sit back and look at it every day and we don't put it into work, it's not going to do anything for us. The second D is to don't ever give up, no matter what. Keep plugging, keep going, break down those walls, open up those windows. Somebody tells you no, you go ask them again. You get knocked down 9 times, you get up 10.
Do you think people quit too soon?
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. The greatest people in the world, the winners don't ever, ever, ever stop. A great book, Old School Grit by Darren Donnelly. I highly recommend that book. In that book, he's got a quote, something like, and I'm going to misquote it, but something along the lines of, the people that succeed, we know things are going to happen. Every day things happen to us. But it's those people that keep fighting through it and find a way through it that are successful. And that's what it's about. Finally, the last E in decide is to evaluate. We got to take a look at our plan every day. Hey, was this a good day? Did I reach my goal? Okay. Then if you did, then do the same thing tomorrow, but make it a little bit better and get better and better every day. If we didn't reach our goal today, or if we didn't have a good day, then something needs to change and we'll get better for tomorrow. So determine, educate, create, implement, don't ever give up, and then evaluate. 6 steps that got me through. I came this over the last 20 years since my accident. I thought to myself, how did I get through all the stuff I did? How did I become a Paralympian? This isn't just bad stuff. You got a decision in your life. Maybe you've got a promotion coming up. Well, what do you got to do? If we go through these steps, we'll knock out that promotion. So it's good situation, bad situation, something that has worked for me that I want to share with the world.
So this happens at 25. You go back to work 4 months later. I mean, what happens because a couple of years have passed between let's just call it 26 and now. You're working, you're doing this thing, and I understand. I've watched the clips of you playing. I've seen you at Fenway Park. I'm like, oh my God! I mean, is he a Red Sox fan? I'm a Royals fan. By the way. I'm a Royals fan. Oh my God! But what I'm trying to say is there's a lot of life that's happened in that time. What's that been like?
It's been incredible, and I went back to school after my accident. I finished up my college. I went and got my teaching degree. So I taught middle school math for 20 years, 7th grade math, incredible times. Incredible times, great kids. Parents, not so much, but the kids are incredible. I also coached my high school where I played at, my high school basketball team for 20 years. And the key, and I did a lot of great things. I was trying so much after my accident to find that one sport. I've been an athlete my entire life, and I've been successful at everything. But after my accident, I was trying to find that one sport where I can, dig into and find that niche, and that's going to fuel the fire. I'm such a competitor, Travis. It's my fault.
Do you hate losing more than you like winning?
Absolutely.
Right.
100%. Man, I hate everything I do. I mean, it drives my wife nuts. Everything I do, I compete at. But I also think that's a good thing, because that's, the level I'm at right now as far as being a Paralympian and one of the, the best in the country at doing what I do.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk.
Yeah.
You've reforged yourself. You got this going, and you decide, a lot of guys our age aren't like competing at a high level. I compete in weightlifting, and for my age, I'm doing all right. I'm competing at the national level, but it's work, and you understand that. What in the world, Steve, said, you know what? I'm going to, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to do curling. What is that?
43 years old, one day, I went to Cape Cod, Massachusetts. Never been there before in my life. I check into my hotel. I say, hey, what do I do? I'm not from here. Well, they say, you need to go to Woods Hole, go to this place called Pie in the Sky. And if they're listening, it's a shout out. I want some more food. Just kidding. I'm sitting there minding my own business. A beautiful day. It's on a harbor. I'm watching boats come in. I'm eating a cinnamon roll, I think. And this gentleman, about 55 or so, comes up to me and he says, excuse me, are you local? I said, no, I'm from Connecticut, about 2.5 hours away. And there was about 10 seconds of silence between us, Travis. And I'm looking at him. He's looking at me. And his hair's slicked back. He's, he looks Italian. I'm thinking to myself, I'm dead here. Well, I'm getting stalked. I mean, I'm planning my, escape off the pier. I'm going back down the hill, whatever it is. Finally, I said to him, do you mind telling me why you asked that? And he said, well, I trained with the Paralympic curling team here in the Cape, and I saw you pushing up the hill. And with your build, I can make you into an Olympian in a year. I'm like, hey, what the hell is curling? And B, where do I sign up? I heard Olympics. Where do I sign up? His wife came around the corner. So the three of us talked for a while. I went home. I Googled it. I checked it out. Hey, so that's something I could do. I went back to the Cape a week later, and I tried it out for the first time. Man, I was bit, Travis. I was absolutely.
It got you.
Woo! The very first stone, it's called throwing a stone. You really don't throw it. You push it on the ice. The very first stone I threw was like, wow, this is something I could do. Being an adaptive athlete, this is something I can compete. This is something I could do one-on-one. It's 4-on-4. There's math involved. There's angles. There's geometry. There's circle. I mean, absolutely everything about the sport just bit me. In the last 7 years, I am a 6-time national champion. I am a 6-time member of Team USA. I went to the 2018 Paralympic Games. Been to 5 World Championships. We're preparing for another one coming up here. Just absolutely incredible chance meeting. That man that stalked me that day is Tony Calaccio. Unfortunately, we lost Tony about 1.5 years ago. Just an incredible human being. He was driving his truck down the road, Travis, when he saw me pushing. He parked his truck and he walked around the town for 45 minutes. Right? I got stalked. And I love the story. It's just incredible. Why was I there that day? Why was he there that day? It's incredible how things happen in the world. 43 years old, I have a decision to make. Do I want to pursue this opportunity to be a Paralympian and be one of the best in the country and represent this beautiful country we have, the United States of America, and travel the world and compete? A lot of sacrifices, money, family, time away from work, time away from family, all that stuff. But again, I had a decision to make. So I went through my process. I got to determine, I got to educate, create, implement, don't ever give up, and then evaluate. And here I am now representing the United States of America, traveling the world and competing for this beautiful country we have.
Let me ask you this. What's it like when you're, coming out on your wheelchair and they're announcing the athletes and you hear, your team's name or your name, Steve Emp, United States of America. What's that like?
Well, I got to grab a tissue, man. You're killing me.
Well,
absolutely. It's incredible. It is incredible. In my opinion, the 2 greatest honors we can have as American individuals is to serve our country in the military and serve our country as, athletes in the Olympics. And I've been blessed and fortunate enough to do both of those. To come to the Paralympic Games, the opening ceremonies, 50,000 people in the crowd in South Korea, millions of people watching on TV. And there I am right behind the United States of America flag, waving. Incredible experience. Goosebumps just thinking about it. The proudest moment of my life, without a doubt, being involved in those Olympic Games. And
because it's not just you, right? It is the other Americans, the other disabled Americans who have in their own way overcome this, and they're there because they want to do this and represent their country. It's gotta be a surreal feeling.
Surreal is the absolute word, and you nailed it with everybody. It's not just me. It's my family, my loved ones, my community, my school, my work, the people around town. It's everybody that never thought they could get there. I'm 43 years old. I'm minding my own business one day at the Cape, eating a freaking cinnamon roll, and 5 years later, I'm in Pyeongchang, South Korea, representing the United States of America. This can happen to anybody. Hard work, a lot of dedication, a lot of hours traveling, a lot of days away. But you know what? I represent everybody in that situation. Anybody can do. I tell people, don't set your mind to it, because a lot of times we're crazy up here in the mind. You know what? Put it in your heart. You really want something, put it in your heart. Write your goals down. When I was trying to make the Paralympic team, I had goals written all over my apartment. I had yellow sticky notes all over the place with my goal. I would refer to them every day. I'm doing this today, because this is what I want. And it worked out for me. I'm blessed and fortunate to be able to do what I do.
So just maybe we got a little ahead of ourselves, but just tell us a little bit about curling. Now, I watch it on TV. Like I said, of all the Winter Olympic sports, for whatever reason, the last 10 years of my life, I will sit there for hours and watch these people throw stones. And I am just amazed at how they can bend and move, and they thread these incredible distances and with accuracy. How does that all work? And what is it about that you can't get enough of it, Steve?
The main thing that drives me is that it's a sport that cannot be beat. I kind of relate it in that sense, kind of relate to golf. You can't get 18 holes in one. There's no way. But you can try as hard as you can to try to do that. So that's what gets me about the sport. Now, I think what's amazing, and I agree with you too, as far as watching curling, it's men and women screaming at a piece of granite. Basically, that's what it is, right? They're sweeping and they're yelling at this stupid rock, a 42-pound piece of granite that's on ice, that's moving in different directions. It's insane. Now, the difference between able-bodied and wheelchair curling is that we don't sweep. Now, sweeping.
Whoa! You don't sweep?
That's
a major part of it.
That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Sweeping a lot of times makes a bad shot look good. So if you're watching curling, able bodies, and they start sweeping right away real hard, that means the shooter didn't do their job. Now, we don't have that, because it would be comical actually to try to watch us kind of wheel down the ice and sweep, and there'd probably be a lot of more people falling out of their chairs on the ice, that's for sure. But so we don't sweep. So we're basically aiming at a spot that is about the size of a garbage can lid, 130 feet, 140 feet away on ice, where one day that curl might be 2 feet. The next day it might be 8 feet. It changes every day. It changes with every shot. The ice is continuously changing with the people in there and the time of day. And there's so many factors that come into it. It's an incredible, incredible sport.
So when I think 140 feet, I'm thinking like 45, 46 yards, give or take a few, marine math. and what I'm saying is, okay, an NFL field goal kicker at 46 yards has 30 feet upright to get the ball through?
Way too much. Yeah.
And that's considered, you did a good job. And you're threading the needle for a garbage can on ice from your wheelchair in the same distance.
Yes, sir. Delivering with a stick that is attached to we hold in our hands too. So yeah, if you're talking about the field goal kickers, then yes, show me the money. I guess I need to get paid more.
I'm telling you. And I watched one of your shots, and the announcer and I were like, I'm totally agreeing with that. I mean, that was an incredible shot, but you did some too that, for lack of a better term, bent. How from a wheelchair do you get that stone to move that way?
It's actually not anything that we do. It's what the ice is doing on that day. Okay. Everywhere you go in the world, every curling club, every it's different. Some days, like I said, might be 2 feet of curl. Some days might be 8 feet of curl.
And when you say 2 feet of curl, what's that mean?
That basically that's how much the stone is going to curl. So if you want the stone to end up, let's say, at point A, when you release it, you got to release it 2 feet to the right or 2 feet to the left of point A to allow that stone to curl into point A.
Hence curling. Okay.
Hence curling. Now, every ice situation, every surface, every building we're in is different. So you really need to watch the first couple stones and see how much it's curling. Some are faster, some are slower than others. So the speed comes into it. But it's a mental, 99% mental. I mean, I'm 51 years old. These guys that are curling in able bodies and sweeping are, mid-20s, and these guys are machines. I'm 51. I'm past my prime. But you know what? I'm one of the best in the country because it's muscle memory. Thousands and thousands and thousands of, I do stuff in my bedroom here as far as dry firing with my stick. I'm throwing stones and imagining where they're going every day. That's what it takes. Incredible sport.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. So, there's the whole don't give up and evaluate component to this all the time. So, I'm having a great time. I'm hoping it's going to, I'm in Massachusetts. I'm a transplant. We're not that far apart. We got to do this in person. And actually, I've heard of the Club on the Cape before.
Yep.
So there's possibilities here. But as I close this down, you're married, right? You've got a wife.
Yep.
What's it like for your wife watching you do this? And I'm a purpose by because at our age, a lot of us are past our primes. We're not Tom Brady. But there you are in the fight. You're trying to compete the very best you can be at that time. What do you think it means to her to see you do that when a lot of men are working on holding the couch down?
Right. Yeah, I'm blessed. I'm fortunate to have the support of my wife and my 2 boys and my family to travel. I'm leaving this Wednesday for Wisconsin for a week. 2 weeks from now, we're leaving for Finland for 2.5 weeks. So I do a lot of traveling, and I am absolutely blessed. And to answer your question, I will sum it up with this. When I was in Pyeongchang, and again, I'm going to try to hold back the tears here. Tears of pride. When I was in Pyeongchang competing, my wife sent a picture of our living room with my 2 boys, and they had my jerseys on. And she's behind them, and they're sitting on the ground watching the TV, and on the TV is me curling. And, to see them watching me, and I got goosebumps, and to see my name and the USA on their backs, and they're not my boys by blood. I married into them, but I consider them my own, obviously. To see that summed it up right there. The amount of pride that the 3 of them have, and 4 of them, because I've got an incredible dog too, but the amount of pride that they have in knowing what I'm doing, and knowing the sacrifice, and knowing that I got up at 6 this morning to drive 2 hours to New Hampshire to practice for 2 hours and then drive 2 hours back. I drive 20 hours. I drive to New Hampshire. I drive to Boston just to practice, to be able to maintain my skills, to do what I do. They're seeing that. The boys are seeing how much it takes to be one of the best curlers in the United States of America and represent our country. And I think that's an incredible life lesson that, I'm teaching to them without even trying to. They're just witnessing it. But the pride is incredible. And I'm blessed and fortunate to have incredible people in my life to support me.
Well, speaking of support, one thing I know from Olympic weightlifting is it's not like, the MLB, NHL, or, NBA. A lot of athletes have to pay a lot of money out of their own pocket. A lot of teams, like the bobsled teams, have to pay a lot of money together to get to go. It's kind of weird in this country that, Olympic athletes don't get the same kind of support as the professional athletes do. How can people support your journey and your team going to do this?
That's a great question. And thank you for asking that. And you're absolutely right. I probably spend every year close to $20,000 out of my own pocket just to do what I do and to be able to represent our country. And that's not a knock on, USA Curling or the United States Olympic Paralympic Committee or whatnot. It's just, the funding's not there. And we realize that. And that's part of the educating myself when I had to make a decision 7 years ago. Do I want to do this? That's part of the education, part of my action plan, to lay out all this stuff. So what we're doing right now we're teaming up with Dean Wegner over Authentically American. And again, he and I touched base, we were there in 89. So doing the math, it's 32 years later, Dean comes back into my life, say, listen, I see what you're doing. And I'm like, I see what you're doing. Team USA and Authentically American, a beautiful match, incredible company, veteran owned, 100% American made. So we're running a t-shirt promo right now with some curling t-shirts that, sweat activation, that are incredible technology. That's going on until the 22nd of March. And then we've got a GoFundMe page set up that, I will forward you the link if you want that. And at any time, if there's any corporations or companies out there, we're always looking for corporate sponsors. Put your name on a jersey when we travel the world and we compete for Team USA. Your company's logo, your company's name will be right there on our chest or on our arm with us. So many ways you can help us out, whatever it is. We greatly appreciate it. We can't do this without the help of our friends and family and communities, and it is much appreciated. Whatever you can do.
Well, it's very important. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the links to Steve's GoFundMe will be in the show post on all the social media links. You're going to see you can't see it, but there's going to be, the image of the shirt. You've seen it in the show, links to that. And I got a couple because I thought it was very cool. You don't see a lot of curling stuff. So I thought, no question about it. And if you are a corporate sponsor and you believe in, Olympic athletes and American Olympic athletes and Paralympic athletes, it's a no-brainer. And, I'm going to check out your book. I'm going to link that book to Amazon too, because I really like the whole way the D.E.C.I.D.E kind of really jumpstarts change in someone's life. I think that's a very important distinction to make. A lot of people miss that, Steve. Yeah,
I agree with you. And a lot of people are, stuck around, especially now with the masks on and everything going on. I'm a people person. A lot of people now are just set in their own ways and don't want to make that change and don't want to decide to either, get out of a bad relationship or get out of a bad job or get a better job, whatever it might be. Again, good or bad. Everybody's going through some stuff. And if we just, take the time to sit back and go through these steps in the book and really empower ourselves, we will do this. Life is beautiful.
Well, as we wind down, it just really during this time of COVID, and, I talked to so many veterans, who are trying to start their own businesses or jumpstart their life, and they don't know how to do it, or it seems insurmountable. I mean, your story has inspired me tonight. I hope for all of you who are watching this interview with Steve Emt, that you come away with an idea that you can take action in your own life. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. And thank you, Travis. I really appreciate your time. Appreciate all your audience out there listening. And thank you very much.
So let's get behind Steve and the Paralympic curling team as they go for gold. I love it. As we say at Oscar Mike Radio, we are mission in flight, and Steve's certainly in flight with his mission. Steve, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you, Travis. I appreciate it.